Hey guys, thank you for coming. This is Hate It or Love It, and you have just tuned in to episode number 10. You did it early.
I did. I thought you was going there, but you took forever to get there.
Wait, should I bring it up so I can see you? I can see you.
Thank you.
Wait, should I bring this down like this?
If you want to.
And bring it in my mouth?
No, don't do that.
No, I haven't done that in a while. So, welcome back. You have just tuned in to episode number 10 of Hate It or Love It. And you already know the goal is to break the image of tradition
While showing the beauty of walking in wisdom.
Bringing it raw and keeping it 100.
With Christ at the center, you're either going to hate it or love it.
You better love it, though.
I think so.
Yeah. Especially what we got for you today.
Yes.
We got a lot of foolery. Mohiganga.
Wow, you had to throw that in there?
I did because my people know if any of my people watch.
Okay. So basically, we're just going to roll into the first clip.
Hit it, Billy.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Days after President Trump withdrew U.S. troops from Syria, some of the criticism was accompanied by dramatic video on the news.
This video right here appearing to show Turkey's military bombing Kurd civilians in a Syrian border town.
ABC News aired the video that they claimed showed attacks by Turkish troops on Kurdish civilians, telling of slaughter and horrific reports of atrocities. But ABC removed the video and apologized on Monday after online viewers seemed to find the video wasn't shot recently and wasn't even from the Mideast, but from a gun show demonstration in Kentucky in 2017.
The ABC video also appeared to have been altered. Shortly after it aired again on Good Morning America, ABC issued a statement saying, "We've taken down video that aired on World News Tonight Sunday and Good Morning America this morning that appeared to be from the Syrian border immediately after questions were raised about its accuracy. ABC News regrets the error." But nowhere do they explain what happened. And as critics point out, ABC News reaches millions of people a day.
Hunter Biden's laptop reveals emails.
We shouldn't look at it as anything other than a Russian disinformation operation.
The Hunter Biden laptop material is genuine.
The murder of a police officer, Officer Brian Sicknick, was killed in the line of duty. They beat a Capitol police officer to death.
Officer Sicknick died of natural causes.
Rogan telling his 13 million Instagram followers that he was treated with several drugs, and he included ivermectin on the list, a drug used for livestock.
Joe Rogan, he came down with COVID. He says he's been taking the livestock dewormer ivermectin.
Does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
Calling it a horse dewormer is not a flattering thing. I get that.
It's a lie. It's a lie on a news network. You're working for a news organization. If they're lying about a comedian taking horse medication, what are they telling us about Russia? What are they telling us about Syria? Do you understand that that's why people get concerned about the veracity of the news?
Right? Instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person, potentially mutating and becoming more virulent and drug resistant along the way, now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person. A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus. The virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else. It cannot use a vaccinated person as a host to go get more people.
Never let the man that you're against form your opinions. This is the trick that's played on everyone who's oppressed. The first thing, an occupation, when you have a revolution in the country, the first thing you take over is the radio. And then you start telling the people, everybody, the war is over. And so all of them surrender. No, they believe that thing right there. And once they take that over, they start telling you where you are and where they are, and you fall right in line. It's plain thought control.
I don't understand how people can be lied to repeatedly and still go back to the same source.
It's weird.
Like, I just don't get that. You know what I mean? It's not just one story. It's like one story after another, after another. And then when people have the audacity to be like, well, how can you listen to these people? Like, how you're saying you're against the news. Okay, wait, let's take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
They say one thing. Then these group of people come out and say another. But these people say that they are spreading conspiracy theories, right? But what they said actually becomes the truth later. I wouldn't say becomes the truth, but we find out that what they said was the truth.
A lot of the time.
Like 99.999% of the time.
And it's crazy because I never thought that independent journalists, just people, would be
better reporters.
Oh my gosh, so popular, evidence everywhere. I mean, like clips. I mean, it's not like, and this is what a lot of you people who don't tune in to those type of sources don't realize. They actually have receipts recibos every time. So it's not like we're like, oh my god, I'm just listening blindly to somebody like you guys do, because it is blindly.
Yeah, and it's wild.
Yeah, and you know what, not for nothing, like when my homie, Orange Man, when he has said the good people thing,
find people on both sides,
I thought that was all he said. And that's when I stopped watching regular news, like CNN stuff, because I didn't know there was more to the speech. I mean, there was I was like, they are allowed to do this?
Absolutely. And for me, it's like, I didn't follow politics at all, nor did I care. Like, I was somebody that did not care.
Me neither. I just voted blue, no matter who.
No, I didn't vote at all. You know what I mean? I didn't vote at all because I didn't care. I did not care. So
I was sold on the Martin Luther King, and like somebody would say, "You don't vote. Martin Luther King would be born." I was like, "Yeah, you're right. Let me go vote."
I don't.
So that's why
I don't know too many people, and I didn't have too many friends. So like nobody was there to give me that speech.
Oh, it's because I went to a indoctrination camp.
Oh, okay.
I went to college.
Okay. So for me, it was like I didn't have any side. And I didn't care at all. So when I went into it, it started with just me researching, right? Like, because somebody yelled at me. I did a whole walkaway story. You can look at that on my YouTube page. But I started to look into his policies, and I was shocked at what he did. And I was like, President Trump.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like start watching it just to see what they say. So I remember watching one of his rallies, and later on, I ended up watching something that was on mainstream media. And I literally watched.
Were they as peaceful as the BLM protests?
No, but what they did was they edited. I get what you're saying, but they edited what he said. And I had watched the whole thing. So when I saw how they edited it, it literally threw me through a loop. I mean, that was the first time where I stopped and I was like, wait a minute, that is wicked. Because that's not at all what he meant. But they framed it in a way to where it looked so negative. And the more that I dug into it, the more I realized they just couldn't be trusted. All of the stories that they have told throughout the years have been a lie. And so with that, I would like to lead into Anthony Fauci.
In the early 80s, the public believed AIDS was a sexually transmitted disease that only affected gay men. But after the discovery of an infant being diagnosed with the virus, Fauci made comments in the Journal of the American Medical Association claiming the possibility that routine close contact, as within a family household, could spread the disease.
Think about it. Here we had this new disease that you could have without being aware of it. This gave rise to media scare stories about getting AIDS from toilet seats and stuff like that.
The public seems to have its toughest time in separating fact from fiction.
Can children contact AIDS by drinking fountains?
I would like to know if you can contact AIDS by kissing, touching, or just being around someone that has the disease.
And in New Jersey, officials say that they will allow school superintendents to suspend students, teachers, or other staff who are suffering from AIDS.
There is considerable talk about mandatory reporting of all AIDS cases and required blood tests, and much agonizing over the question of quarantine.
Well, for example, if the close contact of a child is a household contact, perhaps there will be a certain number of cases of individual who are just living with and in close contact with someone with AIDS, or just the ordinary close contact that one sees in normal interpersonal relationships.
Well, of course, we now know that the infant contracted the virus through their mother's womb, but the damage had been done. Public panic had intensified, and people were fearing they could get AIDS from sharing a toilet seat or even from shaking hands. People living with AIDS were being alienated and ostracized from their jobs, homes, communities, and gay men in particular were heavily stigmatized. On the treatment front, Fauci and the team of scientists at the NIH began frantically working on a vaccine, believing that would be the way to end the AIDS epidemic.
$374 million on AIDS treatment research, with little, if anything, to show for it. Larry Kramer berated him as an incompetent idiot who had established only a system of waste, chaos, and uselessness. Thanks to help from the private sector, the government finally came out with a single drug, azithromycin, or AZT, to treat the illness. The FDA approved the drug on March 19, 1987. It was heralded as a breakthrough and the light at the end of the tunnel, and AZT did seem to work, at least at first. The patients taking it soon began to show increasing levels of the virus. Actually, they began to show increasing levels of a new, more virulent virus, which had mutated to resist the drug. More troubling still, the drug itself was extremely toxic. Yet despite warnings that AZT should only be used as a last-ditch effort to save AIDS patients on the brink of death, Dr. Fauci pushed to expand prescription. In 1989, the government announced that a full 1.4 million Americans living with HIV, even those without any symptoms, could benefit from taking the drug.
Now, the expensive drug made Burroughs welcome record profits, and at the time, it was the most expensive drug ever marketed. But people were desperate. They would do anything to get their lives back. Despite numerous doctors raising concerns about the toxicity of the drug, some even saying that it was doing the very opposite of what it claimed to do, that is, it was actually shortening the lives of their patients, Fauci and other health officials disagreed. In 1989, Fauci began to promote the drug, not only for critically ill AIDS patients, but for anyone who tested positive for HIV, including those asymptomatic who showed no signs of disease. Despite it becoming clearer and clearer that AZT was toxic, caused liver damage, and destroyed white blood cells, the drug continued to be used for several years after, while calls from activists and doctors to study any other possible treatments went ignored. Big Pharma got their payday in AZT. Millions of dollars allocated by Congress went to vaccine research, which never produced anything effective. And meanwhile, along the way, hundreds of drugs and treatment options went unexplored. Here we are today with a pandemic that is causing mass hysteria. Like the days of people demonizing gay men as the culprits behind the epidemic, we have the media demonizing the unvaccinated as the root cause for why this virus just won't go away. Many hope the vaccine would stop the spread and eradicate the virus, but like AIDS, the virus seems to mutate too quickly. The same way Fauci discouraged and even prevented inexpensive treatments from being talked about, researched, and prescribed back then is the same thing that is happening today.
When I was looking at this data with our team the other night, it was reminiscent of 34 years ago in 1986 when we were struggling for drugs for HIV. And we did the first randomized placebo-controlled trial with AZT, which turned out to give an effect that was modest. But that was not the end game, because building on that every year after, we did better and better.
Starting with AIDS and going through SARS and MERS and Zika and bird flu, they have one thing in common: Fauci at the center.
We did SARS in 2002, MERS 2003, bird flu in 2005, H1N1 2009. This is same playbook, different virus.
Okay, so if you want to watch any of the documentaries, one of them is Fauci Unmasked. You can find it on the Daily Wire. Another one is the Real Anthony Fauci Movie.
That's what it is.
.com.
Yeah.
Fantastic documentaries. So I would definitely highly recommend for you to go watch all of that. But to me, it's because we don't know our history. We literally watch this man do the same thing repeatedly. It's the same game plan.
Mm-hmm.
We scare the people. then we give them a vaccine. He's no more than a vaccine salesman. And the fact that at the end of that clip where he could be like, I looked at it and I saw the same pattern with AZT.
And he said modest.
No, but the goal, like we want to move deeper. But I'm just thinking about, wait a minute, my guy, you hurt more people than you helped. You didn't help nobody. So if the goal needs to go further than where you went, are you saying you're looking to hurt more people? I don't really understand what you're saying.
For me, it's just... it makes sense that he said you can catch it for just being in personal contact, because then when people think, oh, this person has AIDS and I was in the same room, I got to get this vaccine. Like, I just thought about that. Like, that's why they made it like, oh, it's not just sexual contact or needles.
Yeah,
they were like,
know anybody.
Yeah, they're like, oh, well, I don't do that. You don't have enough people. They're like, oh, we don't have enough people coming to get the vaccine. Oh, it turns out if you're in the same room as them, watch
you might
out.
need it.
They might sneeze or something. You never know.
But it makes me angry because I know so many people that were pushed into this. And I will say that I didn't know anything about his history either.
Mm-hmm. No,
I learned this along the way. But as I was learning it, I looked back and I was just like, are you kidding me? We fell for the same thing again?
And I was a child, and I remember thinking to myself, I better watch out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it was so blown up. What's that, the 80s and 90s? And I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, Vanessa, you remember the 80s? I'm like, I'm old. Because I remember it being so dramaed out that there were movies that really touched your heartstrings, and you were like, oh.
You know how I feel about responsibility.
Yes.
How much do you know about AIDS?
We have a long way to go in the fight against HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. HIV is spread by sharing needles and through sex with an infected person.
When it came to sex, Cindy was the life of the party. She went from one partner to another, until one day she met a partner who'd stay with her for the rest of her life. AIDS. Don't experiment with sex. If you do, use a condom, or being the life of the party could be the death of you.
The scourge of AIDS is fast becoming the most socially charged health issue of the decade.
What you see there is a kind of, I would say, almost like an earthquake moment in time, in American culture, biology, virology, politics, everything. Not only sex, all forms of human contact. And now all of a sudden, as though a switch has turned, now it represents death and potentially murdering somebody that you love. I mean, these are really radical ideas and very dark ideas.
I don't want that to happen to me. Gotta watch out for the kids at school too. It was a movie with these two little kids, if you ever watched it, and they became blood brothers. And then the kid gave the other kid AIDS. And it was like this, and it just made me feel bad. And I said never to do that.
But it's just heartbreaking to see how so many people have fallen into this thing because we don't know our history. I think history is so important because this man who is a vaccine salesman and doesn't even care about what he's putting in your body. If anything, I think they know 100%.
I think so too.
100%.
You know what? And I'm going to be honest with you. At one point in my life, I had the opportunity to be a pharmaceutical salesperson, and I just couldn't do it. Like, I was like, no, I just couldn't do it. You don't even know what you're selling, because a lot of these, I mean, you know, you're talking about vaccines, right? But there's so much out there.
Yeah.
And they get, I mean, the money is, girl.
I'm sure.
The money is ridiculous. But they're literally selling things that they don't even know what's happening to people. And then the doctors are like, this is really, they don't know either. They're just like, oh, I get $50?
Yeah.
I get $50 if I.
I've seen a video like that. But the sad part.
That's real. That's how it works.
No, but see, I believe that because there's no way that Fauci, being as much as a failure as he has been in medicine, is so protected unless he's in bed with the pharmaceutical companies. There's no freaking way. There's no way. The only way that you can be an absolute failure in your job and still increase is if your dad is the owner. But aside from that, you getting fired, homie.
Okay.
You are getting fired. There is no way that we're going to protect you the way that we've protected you and give you coverage the way that we give you coverage, being as terrible as you are, unless you are a pawn of Big Pharma. Ain't no way, bro. So to me, it's just like, it's really sad, you know, because finding out and seeing, they're not really holding any of the information back anymore.
No,
like it's slowly starting to leak out. Again, I know, but it's sad to see, you know, when they say that there's always casualties in war.
That's the sad part.
That's the sad part.
Especially when you hear about children.
Absolutely.
Like I heard about children having heart attacks.
Yeah. Myocarditis.
Yeah.
In children. And they're trying to give advertisements as if like that's a normal thing. We've always dealt with that. We've always had. No, we didn't.
And like I told you the other day, whenever I told you, because I don't know when I told you, but it makes me think. You know, what is it? Random, or what is it called? Sudden infant death.
Yeah. But it's not infants though. It's like.
No, there's a thing.
No, but they're for adults though. It's like sudden death syndrome for adults.
Yeah, but there's one for children, and it's infants.
Yeah, SIDS.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah. And now they're finding blood clots. I don't want to get into it.
You know what? You know what I heard that they do?
What?
You say this is only for entertainment. This could be, or could not be, or maybe it's true. This is only for entertainment.
It's only for entertainment.
Only entertainment purposes.
No, for educational purposes.
Education. We are not doctors.
No, we're not.
No.
No, we're not. Just logical, common sense women that can put 2 to 2 together. So to go into our next clip.
Let's go. Let's do it.
I didn't even talk about it though.
I'm just saying, let's go. I'm just saying, yeah, I'm with you. Let's go to the next clip.
All right, I guess we'll go to the next clip and then we'll talk about it when we get back.
No, you can talk about it now.
No, I'm not going to talk about it now.
Dale.
Roll it.
Most Americans have come around to believing that COVID-19 originated in a lab and not at a wet market in Wuhan, as China's CDC claimed in March of 2020. The former director of the CDC has come around to believing that a lab origin is more likely, as has the former head of the Lancet Medical Journal's COVID-19 Commission.
But I chaired a commission for the Lancet for 2 years on COVID. I'm pretty convinced it came out of U.S. lab biotechnology, not out of nature.
Journalists and scientists routinely dismissed the lab leak hypothesis as a crackpot theory up until the summer of 2021, when science journalist Nicholas Wade published an influential article and a viral rant by Jon Stewart.
The disease is the same name as the lab.
Pushed it into the mainstream. Up until that point, social media platforms had been removing or throttling posts that took it seriously.
He tells National Geographic everything about the stepwise evolution over time strongly indicates that this virus evolved in nature and then jumped species. Fauci added he does not believe another theory that the virus occurred naturally but was accidentally released into the public from a lab in China.
More recently, emails made public through the Freedom of Information Act have revealed that Fauci, Collins, and other prominent public officials took the possibility of a lab leak origin far more seriously than they were letting on.
Essentially, I think, to put it very starkly, we see a lot of health editors and health reporters prioritizing tidy narrative about Anthony Fauci over, providing the truth to their readers. And I think readers deserve to understand the full scope of possibilities when it comes to the origins of the pandemic.
COP has assembled a comprehensive timeline that lays out substantial evidence that Fauci, Collins, and a number of influential scientists misled the public. Whether or not the lab leak theory is correct, it's now clear that these public officials concealed their conflicts of interest with the Wuhan Institute of Virology and minimized their own roles in providing the government funding for the unsupervised gain-of-function research that may have led to the pandemic. Among other things, COP's research has revealed that virologist Christian Anderson wrote privately to Fauci that he and 3 other scientists thought that the virus that causes COVID-19 looked unnatural and inconsistent with expectations from evolutionary theory. Just 4 days later, after participating in a series of teleconferences with Fauci and Collins, Anderson called the lab leak theory crackpot. Other emails revealed that Fauci knew that his agency was funding gain-of-function research with SARS-like coronaviruses in Wuhan.
So these are the people that we're getting our information from. These are the people that locked down the country. These are the people that told you that you had to get vaccinated, that you couldn't go to work, that your kids couldn't go to school. These are the people that did all of this. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine if they were willing to do this? And I'm sorry, for me, they did that all to make sure that we had the most secure election in all of history.
To me, and this, this could be true, it may not be true. They've always been doing this. Like, I'm like convinced now, like, what else have they done?
No, but I mean, they're already working. With all of this being said, they're now working on a virus now in Boston that kills 80% of the rats that they tested on. Like 8 out of 10 died.
Like, what is the point of studying viruses that kill people? Like, what is that?
Shh, don't ask those questions. Even with them coming out with the article of saying, what is it, the COVID amnesty?
Oh my goodness.
I hear what you're saying. No. I hear what you're saying. I get it. But you guys are the most dangerous group. Mm-hmm. Anything that the media tells you, you're willing to move on without question.
It's crazy.
So I could forgive you now, but if nothing has changed in your way of thinking, you are prone to do the very same thing later that you did then. Because you haven't changed the way that you move. Whatever they tell you, you're going to believe it and eat it all the way without question. That is absolutely scary, which makes you dangerous.
And when they talk about zombie apocalypse, like, I always thought, hear me out, right?
No, I get where you're going. I already know where you're going.
Like, I always thought it meant, like, in the movies, when you see all these zombies, like, oh my God. And then the fact that, like, eating your brain, right? I think zombies was like a metaphor, maybe, not like that they were going to actually be the living dead, but in a sense they would be, because it's like, you're not using your brain if you're looking at all these things and they don't even add up, and you're like, oh, but I seen it on TV and they gave a reason. It's all misinformation. That's really what it is. That's why we're confused, because they misinformed us and we're like, but you know what I mean? But you're not really using your brain, and you're willing to eat the live people
and still go back to them. Yeah. We listen to what the media said. Well, I can't say we, but many listened to what the media said, and they were willing to be absolutely disgusting to other people. I mean, adults towards children, family members to family members. I mean, it's disgusting what mankind.
They said it was loving. That's loving.
And that's the scary part. They really believe that they were the people living in the most fear. I have seen people be so nasty. One chick had on 2 masks. I couldn't even hear what she was saying at all. Like, she was talking and I was like, I'm so fighting. I can't look at your lips to read what you're saying.
Oh my God, that was such a struggle with like everybody.
Masks. And she went, like literally spazzed out on the chick that was standing behind her because she wasn't standing, like she got a little too close. Went off on her, and I'm thinking, is that necessary?
Right?
You know what I mean? Like, to think that this is what we're willing to do to other people, but you're the loving one. All of these reporters that went out and said things that were actually misinformation, all of them should have been shut down.
But they're not.
Yep. They're able to stay online, continuing to tell lies to the American people and have a show and get paid millions of dollars. Thousands upon thousands of dollars per show.
I mean,
but you can get on here and feed us some crap and still get paid and have
and not be held accountable
at all.
And everybody's just like, well, we all, none of us knew. It's not their fault. No, they were getting paid and they knew. As a reporter, the reporters are not allowed to touch certain topics. They're not allowed to question anything. They're not allowed to do actual journalistic work. They only get fed and they don't question because the money's good. And I really believe every single one of the people who fall in line, it's about the money for you. It's about just having people agree with you versus let me actually look into this, because nobody wants to look into nothing. They're just like, those are just crazy people, because they've already labeled everybody who, like us, I guess, they already labeled us.
It's interesting that you say that, because I don't know if it's in the real Anthony Fauci movie.com. I don't know if it's in that one, but they actually show, I think it's Anthony Cooper, where in the beginning he was questioning Fauci. I think it was him, I'm not sure. But they were just like, how is this okay? You know, don't you think that we should kind of go back and there should be some type of accountability or something? And then it showed that in a couple of years, the way that he thought and the way that he was reporting was totally different. He began to mimic everything else that other reporters were saying. And you see that.
Because it was, to me, this is what I feel like it was like. It was like, do it or you're fired.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, and for the love of self.
Yeah.
You know, self-preservation.
Think
And
about
I dig it.
Yeah.
I understand.
It's a lot of money those people are making.
No, I get it. And then, you know, you're looking at yourself, you're looking at your family. How are you going to pay your bills?
Right.
A lot of people during COVID did things that they didn't want to do in order to maintain their jobs. So I get it.
I do and I don't.
You know, no, I understand what you're saying. You know, but I'm just saying from their point of view, I understand.
Me too.
You know, it's not to kick them at all in any way, shape, or form.
No.
But
it was the wrong decision. I
absolutely,
really have to say
especially
that.
with him having the platform that he had. You know, for you to have this platform and to know that what you're getting ready to say is going to influence the minds of thousands upon thousands of people, if not millions. Do you really want to do this? Is it worth it? Is the money worth putting millions of people in jeopardy? I don't know that I would want to be a part of that. You know what I mean?
And you know what? And it's the thing that, you know, people don't really understand. If every single last one of them said, no, we're not doing it.
Oh, it wouldn't have gone any further.
Like teachers, principals, school boards.
All of it.
Yeah. If everybody's like, you know what? This is wrong. We're not going to treat people like that.
But
like,
for the love of self.
Schools would have been closed down. They would have been like, okay, we can't do this. Nobody would have went to work. But yeah, for the love of self. But you know, the Bible does say the love of money is the root of the what is it? The love of money is the root to all evil, which makes sense. It's not, you know, if you have money, then you're evil, because a lot of people misunderstand that scripture. It's the love, meaning you love the money more than your fellow man. And God said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. How can you lie to people, or how can you see people like in tears, like, you know, what they did in the nursing homes? That's the part where I'm just like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna forget, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because besides children, the elderly is, you know, they count on us to take care of them. And when you're separating them from their family, like I seen a lady literally coming between a mother and her child.
Yeah.
All she wanted to do was give him a hug. And she's like, I don't understand. And she's like, Mom, we can't. Can I just give her a hug? And she's like, no. Like, how are you okay with yourself as a person being able to do that to somebody?
You know, it kind of reminds me of in The Giver. There's a scene where the dad is killing a baby, but he doesn't know what he's doing. He only knows what he's been trained to do.
And in a clump of cells? Sorry. I couldn't help myself.
So Jonas is seeing what his dad is doing, and he's like, can he not see? And the Giver goes, no, we're the ones that see. And I see that. You know what I mean? Like, they don't know what it is that they're doing. They're just moving. But there's no thought behind any of it because they've never questioned any of it. None of this is by accident. And this is the part where I don't understand why people are cheering for censorship, that they're glad that people are being shut down. It's like, do you not see the bigger picture? Are you so moved by your emotions that you're like, because I don't like this person, I'm okay with this? But you don't understand what this will open the door to. So with that, let's just roll into our next clip.
Propaganda always entails censorship. It must. Because propaganda, again, does not seek to persuade. It seeks to push you, to jolt you into a particular point of view. So it doesn't try to make arguments. It doesn't try to make a reasonable case. It doesn't use reason at all, actually. It tends to be a kind of almost neurological manipulation. Now, because propaganda doesn't tolerate argument, it always entails extremely rigorous censorship of the counter-narrative. It must be vilified, it must be condemned, it must be blacked out.
Will you provide a list of every website and hashtag that Facebook content moderation teams have discussed banning on the Task platform?
I would be happy to follow up with you or your team to discuss further how we might move forward on that. But
will you commit to providing the information you have logged on the Task website about content moderation that your company has undertaken? Yes or no?
Senator, I think it would be better to follow up once I've had a chance to discuss with my team what any sensitivity around that would be.
We could, of course, subpoena this information, but I'd much rather get it from you voluntarily. But I think let everybody take note that Mr. Zuckerberg has now repeatedly refused to provide information that he knows that he has.
So if they're looking to stop the conversation, you got to ask yourself why. Think of all the things that they would not let us talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Everything where they say, this is off limits. If you talk about this, we're going to take it down. Why? It doesn't leave any room for a conversation. This is what we're pushing. And anything that goes against this, we have to shut down because we're not going to talk about it. We want you to just accept this. It's propaganda.
Hold on, I just want to look up one thing. There is this book that I just wanted to bring up. The book is, that's exactly what it's called. Sorry, it's called Propaganda by Edward Bernays. The reason I wanted to bring that up is because I told you before. He is in direct, the guy who wrote that book is in direct connection with the CEO of Netflix. And Netflix is always putting out these things. And I just thought that was interesting. Also, in reference to people being shut down, I think people who are happy about it, I think you should really think about it, right? Because if it's wrong, you don't have to shut it down. It'll shut itself down.
Yeah.
But the fact that they actually shut it down is because it's true.
Yeah,
That's how I feel about it.
It's kind of like where the Pharisees were upset about the disciples after Jesus, and they were just like, we want to shut them down. But then one of the Pharisees stood up and he was like, listen, remember the last time there was this one guy that came up and he had a couple of followers and that was cool and everything. But after a while they died out, But, if you leave them alone and it dies out, then it shows that it was of nothing. But if you pursue it and they continue to move forward, then you may not be going against them. You may be going against God. Now, I see the same thing, like even with all of this propaganda stuff. If it was a lie, you'd be able to challenge it and show it to be a lie. But because you can't and it's not, you know that you're battling the truth. You have no information for receipts. So we just have to shut it down because we don't want to talk about it.
Right.
So to bring it to the verse of the day.
Oh, which one is that?
Proverbs 17, verse 4.
Oh, okay.
So a wicked person listens to deceitful lips. A liar pays attention to destructive tongues. So when I see wicked in the word of God, it's more like the wrong think. Somebody that has wrong thinking loves to listen to liars. They love it. So,
well, that's pretty interesting. I like that you say that.
No, but it's true though, because it's in the word of God.
Right. But no, like I'm thinking to myself, some of my thinking's wrong. I'd be loving listening to gossip and all that, and the tea. But it's a renewing of the mind. You start realizing, ooh, that's wrong. I need to stop that. You know what I mean? But and that is a sidebar. That's something that it takes time for you to grow out of those things, and I respect and I understand that. But I can honestly understand like the whole let me hear what he did, girl.
No, we love it though.
What he said.
And I'm telling you, that's just
what I would have done.
Fallen
yeah,
in.
yeah. And then I don't know about you, like I gossip or I have gossip. I haven't in a little bit. But then later on, you're like, that was actually kind of wrong. And you've been in that position. You know what I mean?
But see, that's grace. That is the grace of God working through you, because he always shows you. It's never in a way that whacks you, but you come from a place where you understand where they're at because you were once there. And you're able to look at it and not condemn them, but really check yourself at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, you don't remember when you did that? And it's like, oh, you're right.
And to be honest with you, I was those people. Those people who don't, they want to shut it down. Like, I can't tell you how many, arguments or, just being in arguments with people where I'm like, okay, I'm done. We're done. This is done. And I'll just leave. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? I didn't allow the other person or try to understand the other person. It was just like, you did me wrong. That's all I know. That's it. I'm done with you. Even though there may be something that I need to fix within me. That could have been an opportunity to learn and grow. But it's more comfortable to be the victim. Because when you're the victim, then you can't be victorious.
And, I think there's no discipline to hear either. As soon as you hear something that you don't want, everything in you disengages. Because I find that with me, as of recently, there are little things. That doesn't have to be anything negative, but even something very, very small as of recently that I've noticed where I was listening to I wasn't listening. I was sharing something with someone, and it seemed to them or to me that they weren't they didn't care at all about what I was saying. And as I was looking at them while I was telling the story, I saw that they had no interest, and I began to disengage. And then the Holy Spirit was like, no, don't pull away. Keep going. Keep pushing. Just because they don't see it the way you see it doesn't mean that you disengage from the conversation. It's little things like that where he teaches us and disciplines us to really hear other people and even be okay if they don't hear us. All of those things are needed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't think that if you have that discipline to do that, it's so easy to naturally cut people off because they're not saying what you agree with.
Well, you want them to say, Or for me, like, I have this thing where it's like, you're taking too long. You know I do that.
Yeah, and I don't care.
It's like, you're taking too long. I can't. I have to do something different because this is just taking too long. But I think that there is something that's going on in the brain and in the heart that we are not really open to. Like, we're not understanding that there's actually something going on in your heart. The minute that you say this is taking too long, there's something going on. And it's not easy to put your finger on it and be like, okay, let me. Yeah.
Or whatever it is. Like, it boils down to selfishness. Like, you would rather be doing something else
But there's something in your spirit going on. And there's something wrong. I understand that you want to put it down to selfishness, but it's really hard to actually look at it that way when it's a spirit issue. I mean, I really believe that.
No, I know, but the root of all of it, that's why there's only two. There's only two. It either comes out of selfishness, which is just self, or it comes out of love, which is sacrificial.
Yeah, but you could be lovingly selfish. It sounded good in my head.
Yeah.
It did sound good in my head, girl. I was like, yo, I could fix this. And she going to be like, yeah, you're right.
No, I'm not going to be because I'm... Nope.
But no, I mean, the reason I say it is because I feel like personally, and I'm only speaking from personal experience, I feel like I'm like, yeah, I really want to be engaged. And there's something in me that's like, shut up.
You're not, and then you not entertained? That's really what it is. You're not entertaining me. I don't care. I'd rather be doing something else. Like, I could be looking at a TikTok video right now, and
it's somebody. That's a low blow now.
I'm just saying.
Okay, miss. I'm responding right now. That's why I don't sound like I'm. I could get you right there. How many times you been responding to somebody on TikTok or Facebook, and I could hear you're disengaged. So.
I don't mind admitting that.
That didn't go as planned.
Okay.
No, seriously though. I mean, like, all jokes aside, I just think that it's really hard to deal with those issues you have, and it's really hard to say, this is my issue and I really need to deal with it. In a worldly sense, it's very difficult. So I do have compassion for people who are on the plantation because I was that person.
Yeah. And it really does take patience. Like that whole long suffering thing. Like, I didn't understand like long suffering. What does that mean? It, where Jesus was just like, how long? You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Not saying that I see everything because I don't. I don't. But I do know what it's like to be speaking to somebody and then you're you're looking at them and you really don't see it. Like
There's people where I'd be like, "You awake yet?" Oh, okay.
No, you're not. He got one eye open, but it's just
because I got one because I have one person that I swear every time I talk to him, I'm like, "You awake yet?" Okay. Yeah. Common topics.
Talking in his sleep, but he's almost there.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
But
so we love you and we want you to wake up. We're not trying to bash you. We're not trying to be delusional. We want you to see things the way we see them. We want to be able to like explain it and you see it. But a lot of people, you got to admit, you don't want to see it. You have to admit that at least. Like, God, you know what? The lukewarm thing.
Mm-hmm.
God said either just not be with me or be with me. He doesn't like that. And I feel like that works for all of us. Just admit it. You don't want to see it. We're good. All
yeah,
right.
but I don't think that they really think that though. That's the only thing. Like they genuinely believe with all of their heart that what they are holding is the truth. They don't know anything outside of that. Nothing.
But they're not even, but this is where I say that they don't want to see it because they're not even willing to look at the other side. Like you see it all over the internet. Like, hey, what do you think about this person? Oh, they're a misogynistic pig. Well, why you say that? I don't know. And it's like person after person. Oh, you're going to vote. Who are you going to vote for? I'm going to vote for so-and-so. Why are you going to vote for him? Well, I just know, like, my friends told me and, like, you know what I mean? Like, they blatantly don't want to see it.
I don't think that they don't want to see it. I just think that they don't care. They really don't.
But they're really gung-ho about it, and that's what I'm saying. If you got so much passion to be on that side, at least see the other side.
Well, nobody's challenged them on their ignorance, so that's what makes it easy for them to be comfortable in it.
Well, yeah, because they're all chilling with each other, and everybody's yes man. Yeah.
No, yes man. It's not a yes man. They just don't care. No, none of their friends, none of the people that they hang with care to really look and understand what's happening around them. And it's like, and I don't knock that because, like, again,
I do because they look at other people and say, "You're disgusting. You're stupid."
That's where for me it's kind of confusing. Yeah. Like, if you don't care, then you don't care. And because, like, I didn't care when I was younger, I didn't care. Right. I wasn't going to pretend like I was angry or passionate about something when I knew nothing about it. That's the part for me. But you know what I'm saying?
I don't care what you believe in, but don't sit there and call me disgusting or stupid and all this extra stuff.
Yeah.
And you don't even want to see what I know.
Yeah. Like, I remember when I said, I was talking about Trump one day and then like this chick laughed and was like, "Huh, do you, boo?" And I was like, "Do you even follow politics?" "No, but do you, boo?" And I was just like, what? Like, it just, how could you be so ignorantly passionate? But then that's another truth that I found. Ignorance and arrogance go hand in hand. They really do. Like, you'll find somebody that is absolutely arrogant, but they don't know nothing.
You're like, damn, if you could use that energy, you would be a superstar. That's what I'll be thinking. Like, because there's people I see and I'm like, bro, if you only knew the potential that you have.
Yeah.
And the system and everything is just, they got their thumb on you. You don't even know it. They don't.
No.
We got you right where we want you. This is what you say. And they're like, no, this is me.
And that's the sad part.
Baby, bye, bye, bye. You get it?
Yeah, I got it. The puppets or the string. I get it. Yeah. But for my closing words, I would just say that even if you disagree, try to make an effort just to look on the other side. And it doesn't even have to be the other side. Just look, are there any effects? Again, I think that those documentaries that were done on Fauci are tremendous because it doesn't just go into what took place with COVID. It goes into the history of this man. And when you look at it, it's absolutely mind-blowing.
And it's real. Like, you could tell. Like, it's 80s film and everything.
Literally. It's like it's all coming out of his mouth. And it's just amazing to see that at the end of it all, this is the guy that we've been listening to. This man right here has been leading the country.
Somebody actually said they wanted him for president.
I heard Pelosi for president once.
Nah, Fauci was the worst.
Nah, Pelosi. She can't. Yo, seriously? No, thank you. Sunday morning. It's like, girl, it's Tuesday afternoon.
So for me, my closing words is just, let's come together, guys. Like this division, I feel like it's gone on for too long. And we all really do care about our country. Whether you're Democrat, Independent, Republican, Conservative, we all care. We all care. You know, so let's come together and start really talking to each other. Let's have these difficult conversations. Let's look at these videos together and say, oh, you could at least be like, oh, you know what? That's not true. But what if it is? And that is my closing word. Thank you for tuning in. You already know the goal is to break the image of tradition
while showing the beauty of walking in wisdom.
Bringing it raw and keeping it 100.
With Christ at the center, you're either going to hate it or love it.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. You already know. Catch us in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll be back.
You know what?
There's no way.
There's no way what?
Yeah, I'm watching the TikTok.
I know that you're watching TikTok.
Pero yo no te voy a explicar todos los videos que estoy mirando.
Really?
Yeah.
Then don't commentary on it.
Why not?
Because if you're not going to talk about it.
So are you a dictator in chief?
Wow.
Come on, Biden.
I don't need you to do it, so.
I just made a face.
Wow.
Just made it up.
Absolutely petty.
Oh, hello, everyone.
Oh, my gosh. All right, from the top.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to our show. What? I'm doing etiquette.
That's what that is?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Hello, everyone. Funny finding you here. Welcome. You have just tuned in to Hate It or Love It, episode number 10, which means 10.
No, you're going to have to start over. You were just talking way too slow. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Wrongdoers eagerly. Oh, good Lord.
Eagerly.
Wrongdoers eagerly.
Sorry.
Ew. So we're talking about like the things.
Thank you. Sorry. We're talking about the things.
You know I can't jump back into my thought that way.
Yes, you can.
No, I can't.
Sorry. But that was a really good elephant impersonation.
The patients taking it soon began to show increasing levels of the virus. Actually,
I was looking at the time.
Me too.
No, you weren't.
Virulent virus, which had mutated to resist the drug. More troubling still.
What?
The drug itself was
It's like the people that don't know us, they probably think I'm like really mean, but
that would make more sense than my cousin had AIDS. He was making a sandwich, and all of a sudden I left and I had AIDS.
He was making a sandwich and you got it.
I didn't even know that was possible.
While showing the beauty of walking in wisdom,
bringing it raw and keeping it 100.
With Christ at the center, you're either going to hate it or love it.
I don't have it on.
Thank you for tuning in to Hate It or Love It. We'll see it again. And
is that what I was gonna say? Okay.
What? Thank you for tuning in to Hate It. Do you want to just start from the beginning?
Can we just start from the beginning of the ending? What? Like, can we start from the beginning of the end? You know, like where I say, the goal is. Can I just do that? Because I felt like what I said was good.
Sure.
The goal is to break the image. No.
Yo, every time you laugh, you remind me of like a 6-year-old.
All right.